Intellectual property is not a sexy topic, but it is a hot topic in 2020 as the landscape is changing. Amazon's making it easier to control IP, get on brand registry faster. So today we talked to Stephen Forte, who's with an IP law firm, Smith Hopen, to learn some of the latest and greatest best practices and latest news. This is the My Amazon Guy podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Pope, founder of the agency My Amazon Guy. Tune in each week to learn how to grow your Amazon sales. Stephen, thanks for coming on the My Amazon Guy podcast.
Absolutely. I'm very happy to be here. You know, it's definitely a great opportunity, you know, especially to benefit the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation. You know, that's really, you know, one of the charity events that our law firm likes to do, and it's a great organization.
So tell us a little bit about the charity event, and then let's dive into teaching some of our listeners a little bit more about intellectual property, but go ahead and give a plug for the charity event.
Yeah, absolutely. So our law firm has been doing a bunch of CLE events, continuing legal education for attorneys around the country. And this is just an expansion of that, and all of, you know, those CLE events, the proceeds and everything, they go to benefit the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation. So one of the benefits of doing this video is we just ask, you know, if your viewers would like to donate, or, you know, just take a minute, go and browse their website and you know, support a great cause.
Well, I appreciate you guys doing that. And we're going to do a Q&A today on all things intellectual property. So super excited to talk about that. I know nothing about patents. We'll talk a little bit about patents as well today. So interested in that. So I guess I think most sellers at this stage know, like, hey, if I get a trademark, I get a brand registered on Amazon, and that's beneficial because I get A+ content and I get some special ads and stuff like that. There's probably more to it than that, though. Why do you feel like, what do you think people are missing that they should know that when they invest in a trademark, they gain access to?
It's a great question. So when you have a trademark, a registered trademark, you know, whether it's the United States trademark or a select countries, you know, abroad, you know, you're able to register that trademark with Amazon brand registry. That's a really powerful tool because it helps prevent, you know, counterfeit goods, infringing marks, and things like that. So when you register your brand on the brand registry itself, you know, you're able to access, you know, a searching tool. You can search, you can even report, you know, infringing content, and Amazon will take a look at it. They'll evaluate it, and then if it does infringe your trademark, they'll end up taking down that listing. You know, even with brand registry, they even have a new tool. It's more recent. It's called Amazon Project Zero. And that one is even more powerful because you don't have to go through Amazon. They don't have to approve taking down the listing. So essentially, if you have a brand, it's registered with Amazon, and you, for at least 6 months, have a greater than 90% verified percentage, you can, you know, just unilaterally, without Amazon's approval, take down the trademarks. That approval is essentially, so when you submit it to something, you know, regular Amazon brand registry, Amazon's going to take a look at it, and if they verify that it is an actual infringement, then they take it down. So if over a course of 6 months or more, you're reporting, you know, greater than 90% of those things and they're verified, you know, Amazon allows, you know, access to that. You know, one of the great benefits is
I think we should hit that one home a little bit, because I don't know if people are going to pick up on what we're talking about here. So what you're saying is when if you currently are already reporting violators and Amazon is accepting 90% of the reports of those violations, they're now going to let you into what's called Project Zero, which is an automated acceptance of your reports. Now, this is interesting because even though we are correctly reporting sellers who are violating trademarks, we're still seeing maybe a 50% success rate. So I don't know how, like, that 90% bar seems really, really high. What are your thoughts on that?
While it is a high bar, you know, but I think that's beneficial because, you know, if this is an automated, you don't have to get really Amazon's approval, it's unilateral. You really want to make sure you're hitting that high bar, because you don't want, you know, let's say someone's in at 70%, you know, still 3 out of 10 are wrong, and you don't want to take down someone's content who's actually not, you know, infringing the mark.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is I'm saying that their system sucks. I'm saying that, like, when you file an infringement that's real, they just for whatever reason, they don't approve the takedown, even when it's a real submission. That's what I'm saying. So like, I'm saying the 90% bar on their part is incredibly high, especially when there's not a lot of transparency from the infringing reports. They'll just basically say, hey, we don't agree with your report. And that's like it, right? Like, so it's really hard to know how to get 90%. Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard to get 90%. I think it's more about, it's very selectively choosing who, you're reporting. If it's a blatant knockoff, it's a blatant violation of your brand, you probably have a higher chance of getting, a verified, claim on and then getting that percentage up. But with regards to Amazon's transparency and things like that, it's definitely lacking in that respect. There's not too much, but at least they do provide a tool. And while it may not be, Project Zero may not be, right for everyone, it's a supplement to their brand registry. So you still have all the tools of the brand registry and things like that. The Project Zero would just be a supplement to that to, do things quicker. I know there's a couple of companies I know off the top of my head, like BMW. There's another one. Oh my gosh, Lilly. Either way, BMW and things like that. They have a high success rate and they do it. But I feel like they're very selective in doing and reporting which ones that they actually report.
Yeah, so clearly there's a use case for the national brands. Like everybody wants to knock off BMW, right? But like the mom and pop shops out there, the side hustlers or the small businesses, they are looking at this and saying, hey, they're using my trademark name on their listing. Take it down, right? And then there's the compatible with language, which is kind of a confusing topic, right? Like if you sell something that's compatible with Lego, for example, and Lego they don't want anything compatible with Lego. They're just going to report everything. So hopefully this is something that would maybe give some like, hey Lego, don't report everything, kind of stuff. But like, because if they don't get the 90%, they won't get the automation. But
exactly,
I don't know. So there could be some benefits to the smaller sellers by having the big sellers enroll in this, because then it forces people to be like, good actors on both fronts, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. And even if Amazon doesn't act on it, you still, outside of Amazon, because you have that valuable trademark, you can still act outside of Amazon, send cease and desist letters, sue them in federal court, things like that for violating trademarks. So
go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, so, even though, you have the Amazon brand registry, you have a very selective, and inclusive, exclusive Project Zero, there are other remedies that come along with trademark, protection and other benefits outside of Amazon as well to get a trademark registration.
So I think most people that sell on Amazon aren't really thinking outside of the Amazon box. Now, obviously they should. They need to diversify. They need to sell on all the other marketplaces, Walmart, Etsy, eBay. They need to sell on their own website, get a Shopify site, and they should think about retail someday. Maybe not in the pandemic world. But so I think that goes without saying. But that advice is going to fall on mostly deaf ears, in my opinion. I think everybody's they're focused on Amazon. That's what they want to do, and all the better to them. So one of the recent changes, though, and you made me think about this with the off Amazon aspect, cease and desist letters. That phrase made me think about this. So a recent Amazon change is that they now actually display your address of your business on Amazon. And so does that change help with your intellectual property cease and desist aspects, or was there other ways you guys were using before to kind of take that down?
Yeah, so I mean, it's always beneficial to have, that address, exactly where to send your letter or things like that. The other way before that happened, you would go on to, individual states, business corporations. Like in Florida, you have SunViz. It's a corporation listing of everything and has, the principal address of the business and things like that. But, sometimes if the name is obscure or it might not be the actual name of the corporation, it'd be harder to, find and send. So it definitely is a benefit to having an address listed by Amazon and things like that, especially for sending cease and desist letters.
So that is one thing that added a little bit of transparency to the platform. Most sellers were a little nervous about that, and especially like the side hustlers who are going to now have like their home address display. And I got a lot
Mhm.
of questions like, "Hey, should I change my address?" And I said, honestly, I'd probably leave this one alone. We don't know why Amazon's doing this,
Mhm.
and if you start, I mean, they're probably trying to cut down on counterfeiting or something or bad actors.
Yeah.
But if you change your address and then all of a sudden they mail your next payment by check,
Mhm.
what do you do?
Yeah.
We don't know how Amazon's going to go about that. So, anyway, I know I'm not looking for you to weigh in on that particular question. It's just more of like a germane
Mhm.
connection to the topic. All right, so let's talk about enrolling brands in brand registry. Recently, Amazon came out with a couple of programs. There's the IP Accelerator,
Mhm.
and you can get your brand registry quicker. They also have a
Yeah.
free version. If you have a pending trademark right now, you can now enroll it quicker to get your brand registry. So that's a benefit to me. We sell trademarks at my Amazon guy. I'm sure you guys sell trademark services as well. So
Mhm.
now you can get what's called a pending trademark request to get
Yeah.
brand registry. Super, super beneficial.
Mhm.
Faster ways to get brand registry. What are your thoughts on some of these developments?
No, I definitely think that that's a great process. I know with that, there's a very select few, going back to transparency, there's very select few law firms that they actually allow on that list. I know we applied, but it's almost, a couple law firms that I know have applied. It's almost like a black hole. When you apply for a law firm, there's no real feedback back. Once you apply, it's just, like I said, black hole. You don't know what you did, why you may are being delayed or whatnot. So I think there's definitely some improvement that Amazon can do on that. But with respect to the pending trademarks, I definitely think that's beneficial for sellers. One of my main concerns with that is even if you have a pending trademark, you don't know if it's actually going to be approved eventually or later on. The only way to do that is, one, either have an attorney search and get a good idea of just a basic knockout search, or if it eventually matures into a trademark registration or gets rejected. But within that course of time, if you're taking off people's um, other people's products and goods, then and it's not going to be a valid trademark. So I don't think that that's beneficial in that sense. Because I could go on and file a trademark.
Are you saying I need to think ahead? Who cares about next year? That the guy that has to deal with my account next year, who cares about him?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
um, but yeah, obviously there's a lot of benefit to what you're talking about with that in mind. So whenever you file a trademark, there's probably some common mistakes. One of the most common mistakes I see is that people will try and obtain a trademark with a name that's too descriptive.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm selling big art, and I'm going to call it Big Art Pics.
Yeah.
Hate to break it to you, trademark office is going to reject that one.
Mhm.
I and my Amazon guy, we file about one trademark a week. It's not our main business, obviously. We just do it because Amazon sellers need it. You guys
Yeah.
probably do a lot more in this world. What are some of
Mhm.
the common mistakes people need to know or understand about trademarks or intellectual property in general?
Yeah, the descriptive one is a great example. Another common one is trademarks need to be filed in the name of the entity that's actually using the mark. So, for example, if you're filing a trademark, let's say you have a bookstore and you're selling books, atomic books, for example, and you file the trademark in the name of yourself as an individual, but your bookshop is the one that's actually going to be receiving the funds. That's actually going to be an invalid trademark. The trademark office won't actually tell you that when you apply. They'll assume that the ownership information is correct. But 10, 15 years down the road, if it ever comes up into litigation and you're trying to enforce it, your trademark's going to be invalid from the start. So you really need to make sure that when you sell a book, for example, wherever that money is going, whoever receives that money is the owner of the trademark, whether it's the business or yourself as an individual. And I see a lot of times clients will come to us and they maybe to get it office action later on, and then we eventually find out that it was filed in the wrong entity name, and they have to start over, pay the government filing fees and all of that over again.
So you mentioned 10 or 15 years. So that's the life of a trademark, essentially, right? 10 years, and then you have to renew it. Is that right?
Yeah, you have to renew. So the life of trademarks, you can have trademarks indefinitely. As long as you're continuously using the trademark in commerce, you can, put that on indefinitely. A good example is Disney. A lot of their Mickey Mouse and things are going to be coming off of copyright. So they're trying to transition Mickey Mouse, and I think they've done a pretty good job of this, into trademark, because that protection lasts indefinitely rather than, a shorter period of time. But then there are renewal fees and things like that, after every so many years in order to keep up the trademark registration. That's the main purpose of that, is to make sure there's not stale trademarks or trademarks that aren't being used in commerce that's still on there that's going to prevent someone else.
So one thing I know nothing about is trademark renewal, and that's because my business is 3 years old, and I haven't had to renew a trademark yet because this thing lasts 10 years. So how does one renew a trademark?
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty simple process. When you first filed your trademark, I'm sure you had to put a specimen in and things like that, and sign a document saying that you were, using the mark in commerce before you're able to get a registration. So it's pretty much the same thing, where you just need another specimen and you just sign another declaration saying that this is still used in commerce. We do them all the time for our firm as well.
And then is there an application fee for that, or you just submit it, or how does that work?
There is a government filing fee, and then if you do go through an attorney, there will be a small legal fee as well.
Is it the same fee as filing the trademark, like that $275?
I would have to double check. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, no worries. I was just kind of curious if it was like a different application form or whatever.
Yeah, it might be a smaller fee. Like for example, like statement of use is not this $275 if you're filing.
Got it.
I have to double check.
All right. So last trademark question, then we're going to talk patents. So where do you see trademark stuff going? Where do you see the industry heading? And, the changes with Amazon, I'm sure, could be spurring more trademark filings. What are your general observations of like where the field is going?
Yeah, I definitely think, with, the more and more counterfeit goods people see, the more and more people are going to realize they really need to protect what is theirs and their hard-earned intellectual property. So I definitely see the field growing, and the more that companies like Amazon do this and make it easy for people to enforce their rights when they have it, is definitely going to spur growth. And I definitely think that the industry, at least for trademarks, is going to continue growing and continue being a valuable tool in an Amazon seller's toolkit.
And do you think more non-company corporate entities are getting trademarks these days, like the side hustlers out there? Do you think that's part of the change, or?
Absolutely. Anyone can benefit from a trademark. If you're selling, let's say, fishing lures, out of your truck, down by the pier, you're at least eligible for, a state trademark registration and things like that. So anybody can do these. A lot of the trademarks that our office files is actually for, individual small businesses, things like that, rather than corporate entities. So really anyone is open for trademark protection.
Got it. Okay, let's now talk patents. I know nothing about patents. The only reason I even know anything about trademarks is just because of the necessity of selling on Amazon. So, what is Amazon's neutral patent evaluation? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so that's a really great tool that Amazon has. So when you have a patent, and a registered patent with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and you find an infringing product on Amazon. So let's say you manufacture vacuum cleaners, and then you find an infringing vacuum cleaner that infringes your patent. You can go to Amazon, fill out a form, say, hey, Amazon, this is my patent. This is the infringing product, and I believe it violates my patent. Amazon will take a look at it, and if they agree or they see some merit to it, they'll give the seller of that product 21 days to respond to the agreement. So with that, what that means is it's not optional for the Amazon seller. If the Amazon seller doesn't respond and agree to the neutral patent evaluation, then the infringing listing is automatically taken down. So it's really beneficial for if they believe that their product doesn't infringe, that they respond. So when you respond, you have to give $4,000 to essentially a mediator. It's another patent attorney or patent professional, knowledgeable in the field, and it's essentially held in trust. So you give the person asserting the patent gives $4,000, and the person defending their product gives $4,000. You submit arguments back, to the essentially briefs or arguments, mini pseudo litigation to that patent evaluator. They're going to take a look over everything, and then they'll decide if they believe that evaluator believes that the patent holder is likely to succeed and likely to and that product is likely to invalidate, then that product will be taken off of Amazon, and the $4,000 gets refunded to the patent holder, and the $4,000 that the seller has goes to the evaluator.
So basically what I'm hearing is it's a neutral way to fight patents back and forth, and it's a faster resolution, like with an arbiter. Is that a fair way to summarize?
Yeah, I definitely think that would be a fair way to do it.
Okay. So that makes perfect sense. So I think one of the topics that people listening to this, probably very rare for patents to be filed for most Amazon sellers. Maybe 1 or 2 out of 100 would probably end up doing it. And that's because most people end up selling a co-op demand product, so a lookalike or a Me Too product, versus something that's got like some actual utility to it. So I don't know that people will be interested on how to file a patent. They'll probably hunt you down if they're interested in that. But I do think a lot of my listeners will want to know, how do I fight somebody claiming that I'm violating their trademark or patent, and maybe they're not actually violating, but they have to fight it? What advice would you give them?
My advice would definitely be to contact an experienced intellectual property attorney, whether it's you're fighting a trademark or you're fighting a patent, especially for the patent side of things. I know we recently did a neutral patent evaluation that we won, and one of the drawbacks of the other side was that they just hired an engineer to explain the differences, or not the differences, but how theirs is superior. But in the realm of patents, and
That's irrelevant. Superior is irrelevant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. It's all about what the claims are and the law. So, one of the partners at our law firm, we also file inter-party reviews, which is, before the Patent and Trademark Office. And what those is, you essentially make claim charts. You can take a look at the claims, take a look at the products, and it's really technical, diving into both the law and what the product is and how it infringes, rather than just, mine is superior because it operates 50% faster. But that's irrelevant for, intended use, things like that. It's all irrelevant for, on comparing and seeing if it infringes. So I definitely would recommend hiring a patent attorney just to take a look or provide guidance for you.
Yeah, one of those Reddit threads where they say, "I know I'm not a lawyer, but," comes to mind. So with that in mind, a lot of small businesses are going to have a tough decision, right? So should I let my product go, or should I fight? That's probably the main question on the minds of people who have to deal with this. Obviously, you're advocating go get an expert, but some businesses may look at the bottom line and have to make a business decision on whether to fight. So could you give me your honest feedback on where they should draw that bright line? Like, when should somebody fight? When should somebody let it go? Any advice you have on that's great.
My best advice would be find an attorney who does free consultations. Like our law firm, when you sign up for a consultation with us, it's free. We'll take a look at it and we'll give you an honest opinion based on the facts of the case, and we'll take a look at their patent. We'll take a look at what the product is, and we'll give you an honest feedback during that call, whether we think it's worth your time and money to go and move forward. We personally don't want to spend we personally want to spend your money how we would spend our own money. We wouldn't want to waste your money. So I would recommend that you would seek help of a patent or trademark attorney who does the free consultations up front, and then especially so that way and you have better guidance rather than taking a look at it and be like, I don't know. It's hard to do that just right off the front, without having at least a little bit of patent knowledge or patent experience.
Well, I think that's fair advice, especially a free consultation. Can't beat that. So, Stephen, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you for said free consultation, where should they go?
Yeah, absolutely. So our law firm is called Smith & Hopen. We focus on patents, trademarks, and copyrights. That's all we do, IP focused. You can go to smithhopen.com, SMITHHOPEN.com. You can also Google us. Our law firm is located in Tampa, but we service clients around the country and around the world.
So I'll have a link to Smith Hopen on the show notes for those that are interested. So you don't have to hit replay and listen to him spell that out phonetically. But cool. Well, Stephen, I appreciate you coming on. Last question for you. What makes your heart sing? And you can go any route you want with that question.
Oh my gosh, what makes my heart? I love cooking. So, when I cook a meal and I get to taste it and reap the rewards after it, oh, that's just the best feeling in the world. What about you?
It's definitely the 3 kids under 5 right now, especially my daughter. I've had 2 boys, and then all of a sudden a daughter comes along, and it's like she pulls at the heartstrings. So that's it's just totally different. I don't know what it is, but well, we just had Prime Day this week, and I'm also just kind of pulling. Did you buy anything for Prime Day?
I didn't. I was kind of laid back this Prime Day. I just got engaged, so we're kind of trying to save a little bit of money. Thanks. So we're trying to save some money after the wedding and things like that. So we're definitely cut back on the Amazon spending.
Well, it's always good to be the taxi driver of Amazon. As I kind of coined that this week, just talking to people and seeing how they're interacting. So not trying to evaluate how big Prime Day was this year, and I think it was up about 35% week over week, awesome. But not too much to write home about. Who knows if it will kick off the holiday season. Well, good luck with the wedding planning and all that's going on. And Stephen, I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
This was the My Amazon Guy podcast with Stephen Pope. Each episode helps you grow your sales on Amazon through ideas on traffic and conversion rate improvements. Hit that subscribe button right now to tune in each week. And if you need more help, go to myamazonguy.com.